Hey guys and gals, Sanitary here. Thanks for watching yet another video. So today's installment, I wanted to give you my overall thoughts and insight on the glycemic index. For people that don't know what the glycemic index is, it basically measures how much a specific food impacts your blood sugar. So there's usually three categories. Every type of food has a numeric value from 1 being considered really low on the glycemic index up to about 100 up to 102. That's high on the glycemic index. So foods that are really considered low on the glycemic index would be a lot of your vegetables, your broccoli, your salad, your kale. And then your medium glycemic index foods would be like sweet potatoes, brown rice, and stuff like that. And then the foods that are considered higher on the glycemic index would be a lot of your fruit, a lot of your regular table sugar, your honey, syrup, even dates. I think dates are really packed. They're one of the highest foods on the glycemic index of a ranking of about 101 or 102 if I'm not mistaken. So you might be asking yourself, why is this important to me? Well, the main reason is that it's been proven that foods that are higher on the glycemic index, those are the foods that spike your blood sugar through the roof. That tends to increase your chances of storing fat. Your liver can only handle so much all at once, and a lot of times when you have foods that are carbohydrate dense, a lot of sugar, simple sugars, it doesn't have a lot of fiber, it will get converted to glucose really quickly. But because it's at such a rapid rate, you can only handle so much. So what happens is if you don't burn off the carbohydrates, because that's the primary source of energy, a lot of that's going to be stored to fat. So the glycemic index is a good indication. So you typically want to stay away from foods that are really high on the glycemic index. So if you go on Google and you type in glycemic index foods, you'll see a list of all these different types of foods, and that's a good way to determine if certain foods are higher or lower on the glycemic index. However, and there's a big however, and that's one of the reasons why I want to do this video, is that the glycemic index, although it can be useful, it's definitely misleading, or it can be. The reason is that when they measure a specific food for the glycemic index number, in order to create that blood sugar response, that individual that's in that study has to eat that certain food all by itself. So pick any food such as a watermelon. They'd have to just eat that all by itself to get a true reading for the glycemic index. Same thing with rice or sweet potatoes. But the one fundamental flaw with the glycemic index is that most people don't eat just one type of food all by itself. Most people, when they have dinner, they might have some chicken breast with some brown rice and then a sweet potato. Now, if you're just looking just strictly at that brown rice, you might be like, oh, look at this glycemic index. It's on the moderate end. And oh my God, I'm kind of freaking out because I want to keep it kind of low. But what you don't realize is that because you have that piece of chicken or that piece of fish, because you have some proteins and some fat to accompany the carbohydrate, that's going to actually slow down the insulin response, which is a good thing. That's why if you've seen my other videos and or you're subscribed to my channel, you know that I'm a big proponent in getting a good combination, a good ratio of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So the moral of the story is, if you're new to health and fitness and you're not sure about certain foods impacting your blood sugar, you can go ahead and use that glycemic index chart. But the glycemic index chart, like I said, doesn't take into account you having some other types of foods. So what I recommend is, if you're gonna have something that's a little bit higher on the glycemic index, try to have it with some other food, okay? Don't just consume like 5 or 6 dates in a bowl of strawberries before you go to bed. You wanna slow down that absorption a little bit. Now there are some exceptions, that's for another video, with respect to getting some fast-acting carbs, when you're completely depleted. But for the most part, if you're trying to watch your weight, use the glycemic index as a rough reference, but don't freak out if you're eating something that's a little bit higher on that index. If you're eating that carbohydrate-based food that's high on the glycemic index, if you're eating that along with some lean protein and fats, it's gonna slow down the blood sugar response and you're gonna be less prone to storing fat. That's about it for this video. Comments and questions are always welcome. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for all the latest in diet, health, and fitness. I put out at least 2 to 3 new videos per week. Facebook and Instagram links are in the description box. I'll see you guys in a couple days. Bye.